In marriage, insecurities will have you out here playing yourself. This is Noela. And in 2004, she migrated to Australia from her home country of Burundi. While staying at a resettlement center in Melbourne, she meets a man, and let's call him Benji. Noela and Benji end up getting married and have 3 kids together. They settle in a suburb of Melbourne and join the church of this local pastor. Let's call him Pastor Clutch, because he comes in clutch near the end of this story. Anyway, Benji and Noela have now been married for over a decade. And for some strange reason, Benji becomes suspicious of his wife. He thinks she's cheating. Now, I don't know if she did anything or if it was just plain old insecurity, but Buddy was tweaking. Noela tried her best to reassure her husband that she's being faithful, but once a man has made up his mind on what he thinks the truth is, it's really hard to convince him otherwise. Anyway, in 2015, Noela's stepmom passes away back in Burundi. So she travels back home to attend the funeral. Now, Noela was really close with her stepmom, so this whole situation has her very distraught. I mean, she was not taking it very well. She was staying at this hotel during her time in Burundi. So one night after the funeral, she was at the hotel and on the phone with her husband. So she's like crying about the whole situation, and Benji's doing his best to try to console her. Then Benji says, "Look, babe, you just need to clear your head a little bit, all right? Why don't you go outside, walk around the hotel, and get some fresh air?" So Noela's like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. So she ends the call with Benji and walks outside around the hotel for a little bit. After being outside for no more than like 2 minutes, a dude walks up on Noela, puts a heater in her face, and is like, "Get in the car." He tells her that if she screams, he'll unalive her right there. So she gets in the car. Once in the back seat, she's like sitting there between these 2 guys and they blindfold her. And after like 30 minutes of driving, they take her to this random building. They walk her into a room, sit her in a chair, and they bind her hands. So she's sitting there for a while, scared and confused, and then this guy walks in. Let's just call him Boss Man. Boss Man takes off her blindfold, looks into her eyes, kind of smiles, and says, "Bruh, what did you do to this man?" She's like, "Huh? What man? What are you talking about?" Boss Man replies, "Your husband. Why does he want you dead?" Noela looks lost and confused. So Boss Man's like, "Oh, you must have did something bad. You was out here giving someone else the hawk too, huh? Oh, no. You was probably stealing from him. I bet that's it." So while Boss Man is sitting here guessing at what happened, Noela's like, "No, you're wrong. My man would never. You're just a thug looking to get a ransom." Boss Man's face turns serious. He walks up to her, slaps her, and says, "Lock in, sis. What's wrong with you? Your husband ain't Benji, right? Y'all stay in Melbourne, right? Ain't no ransom. You not supposed to walk out of here." He then pulls out his phone and calls Benji and puts it on speaker. When Benji picks up, Boss Man's like, "We got your wife, bruh." Benji coldly replies,
"Kill her."
Boss Man's like, "Yeah, well, I'm gonna need another 2,200 to do the job." Benji's like, "I already paid you 4,500 though." Boss Man replies, "Yesterday's price is not today's price." Benji's like, "Okay, fine. I'll go to Western Union and send you the bread right now." And they end the call. Noela is stunned. That was her husband's voice. He actually agreed to pay the hitman. The gravity of her situation finally starts setting in. She starts hyperventilating. She gets so panicked, she passes out. 2 hours later, Boss Man calls Benji and says,
"It's done."
Benji breathes a sigh of relief. 3 days later, Benji informs everybody at the local church and in the community that Noela has passed. He tells them that she was in a horrible accident in Burundi, and the whole community was devastated. Pastor Clutch tells Benji, "Look, we'll have a memorial service at your house. That way everyone in the community could come out and pay their respects." And a few weeks later, they have the funeral. People in the community came out and mourned the loss. And this snake Benji is there playing the role of the grieving husband while crying and Anyway, as the service is wrapping up and most of the people are gone, Benji notices someone walking up to the house. At first, he thought it was one of the other women at the church. Tell me why. It was Noela. She was like, "Yeah, what's up?" Benji thought it was a ghost. He thought his guilt was making him see things, so he reached out and touched her arm. When that arm was real, this man broke down crying like a little buster. Turns out, Boss Man didn't unalive Noela back in Burundi. So after Noela woke up from passing out, Boss Man and the goons was just roasting her for a while, saying how she was so stupid because she didn't know what was going on. He was like, how can you not see the signs? They kept her for 2 days until that second Western Union had come through. Boss Man put all the Western Union receipts and a memory card with the voice recordings in an envelope and handed it to Noela. He was like, this is the evidence you need to get his sorry ass. She was looking all confused like, so y'all not gonna kill me? Boss Man was like, nah, I mean, we thugs and all, but we don't mess with women and children. Then they let her go. She had no idea what to do or who to call, so she just called Pastor Clutch. He told her he was gonna handle everything. He got her a flight back to Melbourne, and he hid her away the whole time Benji was telling everybody that she had passed. She was actually at the funeral in a car parked down the street, just watching everything. During that time, she was working with the police, giving them the evidence that she had, and they were putting it all together so they can come and arrest Benji. And shortly after the funeral, they did just that. Benji was sentenced to 9 years in prison. Moral of the story, work out them insecurities, bruh, so you not out here playing yourself.